Welcome to the Healing Hour, and this is Tyson Bannigan, the Illuminator, bringing light to you and the planet. And I'm with you for the next hour. This is a live phone-in show, talk show. So if you'd like to join me, and if you have any questions, feel free to phone in and ask me any questions. So today's show the topic is converging timelines. Lots to say about that as we move through, but more exciting for me is to talk to you and see what's going on in your life, and if there's any way that I can provide some perspective, some intuition, some healing, some guidance around dowsing and energy healing. So if that's you, and if you'd like to join me, then I'm going to put up the toll-free number. You can call in toll-free in North America, 1-866-369-7464, or you can click on the link that you'll find in the comments on Facebook that looks like this. So you click this link, it's Be Live TV broadcast Converging Timelines, and that'll bring you in right at the broadcast, and you can join me as a co-host for today's show for whatever length of time that you'd like to join me in the discussion. All right, so today's discussion, if you're just joining me now, is converging timelines. And this is Tyson Bannigan, the Illuminator, for the Healing Hour, May 2018. All right, without any further ado, I'm going to head over to the Dowsing and Energy Healing closed Facebook group. And I see we have 2,779 members. So thank you all for contributing to this community and keeping it alive and sharing all impressions, asking really great questions, and helping each other grow in the area of dowsing and energy healing. So Catherine Mason asked on Wednesday, Tyson, I would be interested in hearing more discussion on the subject of electromagnetic frequency fields and their impact on our mind-body health. As an empath and sensitive, I am very aware that the best way I can protect my own energy field is to remain committed to my own spiritual practices of meditation, breathing, yoga, sound healing, etc., so as to keep my auric field strong and capable of remaining in balance, grounded, and thus less vulnerable to the tsunami of electromagnetic fields that we are surrounded by and permeated by on a daily basis in our high-tech modern world. That said, because we are all organic human beings, that are bound to be days when one may become more impacted by the EMFs, the latest being smart meters installed on all our homes. For sensitive like myself, one bad day can easily throw off my energies and make it more challenging to keep up my spiritual protocol, which otherwise keeps me stronger. It literally becomes a simultaneous challenge between all levels of consciousness, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, since in truth, all these levels operate simultaneously. Hence, a vicious cycle can ensue for better or for worse, i.e. uplifting when strong, or on the other hand, one can become ill if the field is weakened. Yes, I believe that at some point along the journey of spiritual healing, we can reach a point of sovereign certainty within one becoming impenetrable to these external man-made fields, let alone the energies of others. As a medium, however, this is easier said than done, especially if the role being served is one of a bodhisattva here to serve in the suffering of humanity. Perhaps this could be a topic you could address so that all may benefit from hearing. Thank you. Wow, what a topic. And that's an amazing topic. Just going to head over here. So Kelly Jean McGrain, wow, great question. Yeah, isn't it? Absolutely. Welcome to the show. Kelly, if you wouldn't mind sharing it to your network and letting other people know that we're live and they can join and ask me questions, or you can phone in and join the conversation. Yeah, it's a great question. So while you're doing that and letting other people know, let's go back to the question at hand. So the first thing that comes to mind, Catherine, when you listen to this call and I hope you do. And I'll make a note to let you be informed when it's up and live, which will be right after this show, or you can pick it up on the YouTube channel or through the podcast. There's 3 different ways this show is produced. But getting back to that, well, thank you, Kelly Jean, for sharing. I appreciate that. So there's a misconception here in that as a bodhisattva, to share in the suffering of humanity. And that's not quite what a bodhisattva's role is. So let me just talk about that. So bodhisattva is to make the agreement that you will continue to incarnate on planet Earth until all sentient beings are free and clear. And what that means is, certainly from the Taoist perspective, is in the triple world. So that means the hell world, or the lower frequencies, the human world, which is the middle band of frequencies, and the angelic or heaven frequencies, which are above human. But all of those have certain traps and certain energy fields, just like electromagnetic frequencies. Some of which are free and some of which are binding. And so your job as a bodhisattva, if you put up your hand and did that, then you have decided that you would be part of this job of clearing out the planet. But it's not by taking on the suffering of humanity, it's freeing humanity to stand in their truth no matter what. So as you learn how to handle your bioenergy field and deal with EMFs, you're teaching everybody else how to do that. So welcome, Saul, to the show. I'm just going to bring you in. And there you are. Welcome to the show, Saul.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's Sal, I guess.
Yes, it is Sal.
Oh, welcome.
Yes.
It is Sal.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're a little close to the camera. We could only see your right eye, and as beautiful as that is, it's a little overpowered. There you are. You were dominating with that all-seeing eye of yours.
Well, I'm babysitting right now, so I'm trying to listen to the show as well as babysit.
Oh, well, that's great. So you're being the bodhisattva for the next generation.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
it's the first time I've joined live. It's the first time I've joined live. I know that I have gone back in and listened to.
Well, thank you for letting me know that somebody out there in Never Never Land is actually listening to the show. That's great. So much appreciated. So do you have a question or a clearing that you would like to have some help with? Whoops, you disappeared. All right, so while we wait for Sal to come back on, let's go back to this whole aspect of being a bodhisattva. And just to say that the age of the Piscean age was really one of the belief that one had to suffer in order to grow spiritually, or one had to work hard in order to succeed, or one had to conform to the status quo by getting a job and going to university and getting married and all the rest of that. There was so much belief around the existing paradigm that if one didn't fit in, it was overwhelming. One felt that one was inadequate, that you were unsuccessful, that you couldn't live up to the status quo, you couldn't succeed like the Joneses, etc., etc. And since 2012, we're really on a new timeline, and really that's part of the topic today is converging timelines. We're on a new timeline in which really it's one of oneness, it's one of co-creation, it's one of bringing harmony. It's not the one of separation and competition and trying to better somebody else, or even that the path to enlightenment is suffering. The path of enlightenment is much easier now. I'm not saying it isn't a struggle. I'm not saying it doesn't take work. I'm not saying that you don't fall off the spiritual wagon, so to speak. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying that the path is relatively easy compared to the concept of needing to suffer in order to succeed. So, Sal, I can just see your name, but I can't actually see you. Oh, there you are. Great. So I'm just going to add you back to the broadcast. Well, there you are. So welcome back. You
Thank
disappeared.
Yes. I'm off and on. I guess it's one of those connections.
Yeah, it's probably too much going on your Wi-Fi connection. I also find that the technology at times sort of can't keep up to the energy of what we're talking about. So sometimes it just wants to sort of crap out on us.
You got scared. You got scared.
So Sal's picking up the baby to comfort the baby. Back to this whole concept. Where's the little one?
I've got the little one right here.
There you are. Hi. Hello.
Say hi.
Hi. Hi. There's a big smile.
It's coming.
Yeah. Who's that on your sweater? Who's that funny guy with the big orange nose? Who's that?
These kids, I tell you, all they want to do is be outside. They don't want to be inside, so it's all day long.
Well, that's great. Aren't you lucky that they want to be outside?
That's right. Make sure that they're outside. Yeah. The hummingbirds. I think that makes a big difference to everyone's energy levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the hummingbirds just showed up today, and they were over at the cottage on the window saying, all right, we're here. Where's the food? So for us, they've just arrived in our area.
Okay. Well, we have a family all.
So do you have a question or a clearing that you'd like to deal with, or do you have some insights on the topic of converging timelines, or do you relate to what Catherine was saying with regard to being an empath and being overwhelmed by electromagnetic frequency? And when you're overwhelmed, how do you get back to building up your energy field so you don't feel like you're slammed around again? Whoop, she's gone again. All right, so back to Catherine. Yeah, Catherine, you're absolutely right that all those things you're talking about, meditation, breathing, yoga, sound healing, are all spiritual practices that strengthen your auric field so that no intrusion from outside influences such as EMF, electromagnetic energy, man-made interrupters, which are in the thousands, that impact us, like gas, oil, all of the synthetics in cosmetics, toothpaste, all of the stuff, GMOs, all of that stuff has an adverse effect on our energy field. So, the good water, the clean water, alkaline water that you drink is important, of course. Holistic food, the closer it is to nature, the better. No refined products. Those are all ways of building your energy field. But I think the real key aspect is to ground. So electromagnetic frequencies can become overwhelming when the body itself isn't grounded. In other words, there's so much energy that you're buzzing. And if you're buzzing in your body and you just feel like overstressed, then your brain is going 90 miles an hour trying to figure things out which really are not relevant, because it'd be better off if you just went to sleep. So those are all indications of hyper activity, which is really an indication of needing to ground. And of course, there's various ways to do that. And, one of them is taking your shoes off and walking on the grass, or hugging a tree, or getting in nature. Those are all very helpful. There's other products that one can do, like grounding mats, and certain mats that you can lie on that help you ground as well. But one of the things that you could try, Catherine, is just ensuring or asking Divine Mother or Creator God, the Earth, is to align yourself, your bioenergy field, to Mother Earth. So as Mother increases, because of the new cosmic energies coming in, as she upgrades, you upgrade. So now if you're on one-to-one harmony with Mother Earth, then it will be easier for you to adjust to the incoming cosmic frequencies, and also to the outside EMF frequencies as well. So that's one of my suggestions to help you not be thrown off. And if you're, like you say, you're being, sensitive and and it can throw you off, then I suggest you go hug a tree, go for a walk, take your feet off, ground yourself, get into water, take a bath, whatever it is to get close to nature as soon as possible, and that will help you. So those are some tips. On the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy site, there's 4 ways to start your day. That might help as well. There's, taking 3 clear breaths and grounding to Mother Earth, so that you're taking 3 breaths, bringing in the energy down through your crown chakra, which is like the white light or the prana or the mana, and digesting that into your body, into your energy system, and then breathing it out into the world, because as you give, so you receive, and then saying, I'm connected to heaven, and then taking 3 breaths in, up through your feet, like warm blanket of grounded energy, feeling your whole body and your heart with the brown energy, and then breathing and sighing on the exhale, and then opening your arms and giving it to the earth, and doing that 3 times. Bringing in 3 more breaths if you want, and mixing the 2. So now you have the yin and the yang, and now they're spiraling around each other, and now you have a vortex created that is balancing the earth energies and the spiritual energies, or the white energies from source. And now you have the yin and yang, and now when you do that, you're in the Tao. In other words, you're not bumped into the yin and you're not bumped into the yang. And as it becomes too yin, then your body balances it with the yang, and the yin becomes the yang, and now you have a circle, a figure of 8, which is infinity. So now you can stay in the center, and every time you deviate from the center, which is the still point inside of yourself, which you arrive at and know from meditation, the more you can dwell and get back to that, the easier it gets as you're knocked off center. And the more that you can dwell in that, the less you will be affected by EMF. So in some ways, a gift for you to say, hey, I need to ground, I need to balance my energy field so that I'm not overwhelmed. Okay, so we have Sal back again. We're going to bring her back to see if we can. There you are. Welcome back yet again for the 3rd time. Can you hear me?
It's
You're sort of breaking up.
Sent the kids in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now again, because you're breaking up. You were like an alien from another planet that didn't know how to speak English.
This is interesting. You're not the first who said that.
Yeah. So what were you asking or saying?
What I was saying is, I'm just starting out in the dowsing. Are we speaking on any subject?
Yeah, you're breaking up again, but yes, the primary questions are coming around dowsing and energy healing, but it can be around timelines or anything. Anything goes on this show as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, you can ask anything you'd like to ask.
Okay, so I'm just actually starting off dowsing. I did get the dowsing rods from you. I've got a letter to Robin, and I just kind of got myself a pendulum as well. Now, basically, the idea is I just go through this particular book, and the one that you have on the website, should I download that as well and then just start practicing?
Yeah, I think the thing to remember is the goal. The overall goal is to get comfortable with receiving guidance, so that still inner voice, that aha that you have, or that gut feeling, becomes more dominant in your life, and you know how to listen to it and how to calm yourself so that voice can be heard. And dowsing is just one of the ways in which to at least begin with really simple yes, no questions and percentages, to be able to listen to that voice. But the ultimate goal is at some point is not to have to use any tools, you're just can call in the guidance and get the answer full blown. That's where you're headed for. So now, having said that, use it in any way, shape, or form that you need. So, for example, I would, do you feel that you can receive guidance? Do you? Is
Yes,
that something you
I
think you
do.
can do?
I do, and
All right.
I work with energies already. I'll give you an example, and this is just from a very young age. Um, if there is something that needs to be said, it's not a choice, it's a must that I have to relay whatever it is that's coming up. And I would say 10 times out of 10, that person on the receiving end needed to hear whatever it was. Might not make sense to me, but I do relay whatever that information is.
So I have a question for you. When you do that, do you blow people away at times?
Yes, I do. I blow myself away because
All right.
sometimes I don't even know where it came. And I'll give you an example. I work at the Vancouver International Airport, and you can imagine how many people go through there and on any given day. And out of the blue, someone will come and approach and ask me something, and we go totally off topic, and then I've just gone ahead and I've sensed that there's a download coming and I relay it. At times they walk away crying and saying, "How did you know that?" Other times they're blown away because that was what they were needing to hear at the time.
Okay, great. Yeah, that I was going to put some precautionary sort of quotations around what you do, but the way you described it seems that's perfectly acceptable. Just a side comment: when I was younger, I used to do that, particularly with girlfriends, and not, I'd have an insight, and I'd say, "Did you know?" La, 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 and they weren't ready to hear it. I would blow them right away. So it sounds as though you've built some sort of mechanism or counter checks so that you're presenting it to them at the right time, at the right place for them to hear. And that's all I wanted to get at. So that's good. You are blowing yourself away and them away, but in a good way. So that's great. So
Thank you.
so that's wonderful. So the dowsing might be helpful for you. I'm not sure how it might be helpful for you, because I would say the dowsing that I teach would be to get you to where you are now, but you're already there. But there may be things that you want to check. For example, maybe you have a sense that that something is so, but you want to know how much is it so. So you might want to do a dowsing percentage. Like, is this feeling that I'm getting, is it medium strong or overwhelming strong, or is it totally accurate, or do I need to act on it now? Or those could be dowsing questions that would assist your guidance, right? So that you can ask things around your guidance, but I wouldn't put it in place of your guidance. I'd put it as an adjunct. So while dowsing, the way I teach it, gets you to where you are, now you can use dowsing as a peripheral way to check on some of the things and broaden your knowingness. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And the one thing that I'm onto right now is a lot to do with emotional clearing.
Yes.
And so I have just recently taken up EFT. I didn't quite comprehend because I guess having navigated navigating the journey up to this point and just working with what's coming into life,
Mm-hmm.
I've been pretty successful to get to where I am. And you know how the old saying goes, whether you show up at one teacher's doorstep and then you show up at another teacher's doorstep, it's just like a popcorn trail.
Yes,
Right
absolutely.
now, yeah, and where I am today, it's all to do with emotional clearing. Not necessarily mine, but it could be a lineage thing. So I thought maybe, you know, how do you clear emotions and trauma with dowsing? I don't quite comprehend that.
All right. Well, that's a key aspect of what I teach. And I guess the best course I have is Take Back Your Power Now. And basically it's sort of like a shotgun approach. So for example, Catherine was talking about, I don't know if you heard me, she was saying that she's overwhelmed by EMF and all of the, hypersensitive, all this barrage of energy that's coming at her. And while yours is, in understanding emotion, that's the inner world. So the outer world is what she's talking about, that's impinging on you. You're talking about the influence of the inner world, which is unresolved conflict, trauma, core fractures, sexual abuse, this lifetime, past lifetime, matriarchal, patriarchal lineage, soul family stuff, parallel timelines, bleed throughs. That's a whole nother body of information that impacts your bioenergy field that it really behooves you to understand so that you can stand in your truth no matter what and not be thrown off center, which is basically, I'm saying, how to stay in your heart no matter what's happening around you. Because if you're in your heart, you're safe. You're always in the right place at the right time. No matter what chaos is going around you, you know exactly what you need to do in any crisis. So, for example, if there was a plane that crashed and you were involved in it at the airport, if you were in your heart center, you would know exactly where to be and what to do and all the right steps, because you'd be in your body, literally being guided. So as an example, right? It just supersedes any need to rationally figure anything out. You're in the right place at the right time to do the right action because you're guided. So to go back to the emotional aspect, when clearing it from the Take Back Your Personal Power, it's sort of the beginning stage, and I'm not saying that this is where you need to start, because we may be able to quantum jump you. But that step is anything and everything you could imagine. There's 64 statements, which is everything from ET intervention to government intervention to electromagnetic energy to past lives to matriarchal, patriarchal. And it's sort of like taking a shotgun, a full of buckshot, and shooting at a target. It hits the target, but it's everywhere, right? It's not specific.
Okay. Yes.
And then as you do that for 21 days, we get clearer and clearer and clearer on that aspect that is directly related to you specifically, of what you need to learn how to clear. And not necessarily learn how to clear, but just clear it and get it out of your system. And so you know how to deal with it. So at day 7, I meet with you, cut the list back, but I don't need to be that, because if you know how to douse, you can say, do I need to do number 1 anymore, number 2, number 3, and you shorten the list yourself. Day 14, we do the same thing. Day 21, you should be somewhat free and clear, because it takes 21 days to create a new habit. And then there, it should be turned over from your conscious to your subconscious mind, and should be running 24/7 in the background. Okay. So now it's running that clearing program. It's not something that you have to be consciously doing every moment. And that's where you want to get to. And that's part of the whole thing about dowsing, is to come up with protocols so that every time you douse or every time you say clear, there's a program that's running so that you don't have to think about it. Your subconscious already knows the program and will run it for you. So I never thought of it this way, but another way of to think about dowsing is it's a way for your conscious mind to send a command to the subconscious mind about what you want it to do. Because the subconscious mind is going to run on default. It's going to run on an automatic pilot, which is primarily the matrix that it's in. And unless you send it messages or guidance other than that, it's just going to run the old endless tape. So your job, and the reason why you have a rational brain, is to be able to encode your unconscious mind so it becomes an adjunct to your ability to know. Because the subconscious knows everything. It knows everything. This lifetime, past lifetimes, even future lifetimes, it's all there. Everything that you've ever done since you were on planet Earth. And while that's in your subconscious, your subconscious is sort of like a level of knowingness above your DNA, and your DNA is connected to your lineage. But then there's also vibrational frequencies that are connected to your DNA, which are not connected to the third dimension. So your lineage carries that energy too. So it allows you to clean up that, and also your soul family, why you incarnated, past lives, and so and such and such. So it becomes working with your subconscious is a way for you to learn that you're a multidimensional person, and to be able to take back your power on all dimensional realms, so you're not overwhelmed. Does that help you or make sense to you?
Yes, it does. It totally makes sense. You know, I think every tool that you can have is one extra tool that you may need, or you may find someone else needs along the journey. Um, I know for myself, there's this outer body separation thing that goes on now, currently where I am in my development. And just to give you a background, you know, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher. I meditate and have for close to 2 decades. And for staying on the path, keeping on the path, you know, I do attend seminars, and I kind of, doors open up and I enter. And so from becoming a Kundalini yoga teacher to going into uh, a sacred geometry. I actually just got back from Sedona, where I was privileged enough to be with Danielle Mittal. I'm not sure if you're aware of him. He does some of the Melchizedek workshops, and of course met his wife as well. It's just unfoldment on a continuous basis, but sometimes it's like I have to stop, and everything on the external world almost looks foreign. It's like a
Right.
splitting. It's like a splitting.
Yeah. Yes. So what's happening with you is what I describe as you raise your vibrational frequency from K-lac, so to speak, or from the existing paradigm, or call it the matrix or whatever. As you raise your vibrational energy, you're on a different frequency, a different radio station. And the more that you do that, the more that the matrix per se, for lack of better words, will just start to dissolve around you. You'll literally see the holes in the matrix, because you'll see the truth of what is will shine its way through. So that's why it's at this point, for a lot of us, it's a little bit fuzzy at times. Like, well, wait a minute, I just saw that and then it was gone. Or this is showing up in my timeline and it's there for a second and then it's gone. It just means that in some ways you could say, well, it's a bleed through from a past life. In some ways that could be true, but I think we're more and more actually moving towards individually and collectively to the matrix coming down and finding ourselves seeing the world for what it really is. So that's my perception on that. And that's why the topic today of converging timelines is an exciting one, because when you go to Sedona and you're standing in those vortexes, you remember who you are. There's a certain download you get from the earth energies, which is really what I was telling Catherine, which is so critically important, is if you want to be able to, if you are an empath, like you and me, and like she is, and you receive all this information, you need to be grounded to Mother Earth. You need to be able to feel her as she upgrades. Your body needs to be aligned with Mother Earth's body. And one of the ways to do that is when you go to a vortex. Each vortex is like, each vortex in the landscape has a certain function like an organ in your body. So in other words, in Sedona, there will be one for your heart chakra. There'll be one for the third eye. There'll be all the different body parts will be represented in the chakras as Sedona. I don't know if anybody's done that work, but that's Marcos Pragoznik's work of talking to the landscape diva for that area and understanding how that landscape works as a body of information, a holon, and you are a holon. So when you're in a vortex and understand that, and you align yourself, you're aligning to something much bigger than you. And because it's bigger than you, you were trained to it, right? It pulls you into its energy and aligns you. And so that vortex aligns you to the higher dimensional aspects of yourself and remember who you are. So that's the beauty of the vortex and the beauty of going to sacred sites. The other aspect is as you are who you are is literally walking in that energy. You walking there with the frequencies you bring, you're bringing the cleanup as well, just by showing up. So anything that was on your frequency that is ready to break through and is on the same frequency as you are, when you being in the vortex, clear everybody on that same frequency. So it's like you're assisting everybody else just by the feet, your feet touching the earth. So it's sort of cool, you know. We think that we're separate, but in actual fact, we're not. We're all one. So as you do your work, you're doing it for your tribe of energetic connection to you. And also you're doing it for Mother Earth, helping her upgrade. And at the same time, Mother Earth is helping you upgrade. So it really is like a figure of 8, right? It's like breathing in and breathing out. And who's breathing what? I'm not so sure at times, right? Is it Mother Earth breathing into you or you breathing out into Mother Earth? It doesn't matter. But there's a sympathetic harmony that allows us to co-create and evolve with Earth so that we become the true planetary consciousness, the true Earth stewards of which we were born to be, to bring about this new change and transformation. We are the feet on the Earth. We are the hair on the back of Mother Earth that brings in the cosmic energy from the stars and the earth energies, and through our body we synthesize those two worlds into one world. And all the illusion, all the matrix, all the mucking with our DNA, and you know, all of the stuff, you know, like EMF and all of the mind control, all the craziness begins to dissolve because we're in our truth. We're walking in our truth. And that's what we're here to do.
That's right. I totally agree, because I don't think that you're going to have a choice. And one of the examples that I can share is that, for instance, if I'm trying to hold back what needs to be communicated, I suffocate. I feel like the area is suffocating, and so I have no choice but to and it's something that's coming through me. It isn't me, it's coming through me. And I may or may not remember what it is that I communicate. And so it's not that I have a choice. It's that I have to learn to surrender and become more still so that it can come through me.
Absolutely. Be still and know that I am God, right? That's what it is, you know, surrender. Well, oh Lord, I commend myself. I'm using Christian terms, not because I'm a Christian per se, but it helps terminology of what Christ has said, right? So, absolutely. So the paradox about this, for those that are listening to this, take back your personal power and stand in your truth no matter what, is learning how to manage your biofield. And it can sound very much like it's very egocentric, you know, I need to protect myself and manage my field because I don't want to be people's energy, and I don't want to be messed with by ETs and blah, 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 blah. And all of that is true. But the next step is, okay, now that I'm standing in my truth and I know who I be, now I have to surrender to the divine. I'm not in servitude. This is not on your bended knee. This is a co-independent relationship with Divine Mother in Gaia, that you're now in service. And like you said, it comes through you, but there's no ego. How can your ego get attached to that? Because you're teaching yourself at the same time as you're teaching the person you're talking to. You step away from them and you say, whoa, that was really neat. You know, you get to learn yourself. And that means that you're literally connected to source. And that's exciting. I just taught dowsing at a conference 2 days ago, and that was the same for me. You know, I say, okay, Divine Mother, use me as a channel. What do these people want to know? And I stand there, and the questions that I'm asked, like you're asking me, make for them so they get what they need, like your friend or like the people do in the airport when they come and ask you for guidance or assistance. They think they're coming to you on the physical realm, but then actually they're coming to you on the multidimensional realm, that you're giving them spiritual as well as physical. So again, it's when you're in that divine service, there's no ego. There's nothing to attach to. It's really makes you sort of humble, doesn't it? Like you think, wow, that was pretty cool. What happened?
Well, it humbles you and it keeps you grounded at the same time, because as long as you take you, the singular you, out of the equation, then what needs to be relayed, communicated, expressed happens. And it is very organic. It isn't something that you can fake. Because the minute you start to try to take over and think that it's you, oh yeah, because I remember the early days, because it didn't make sense. Whatever needed to actually be communicated didn't make sense. So as soon as you turn and you just step out of it and you say, okay, this is what's coming through, this is what my understanding, this is what I'm seeing through my internal vision, and at some level it's going to make sense to you, and boy does it make sense to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really makes sense to them. You in that moment really become the person, the guide, the moment that they've been waiting for, the question that they've been asking. And in that moment, you become an earth angel. I mean, you literally are an earth angel sent into their timeline to give them a message from source or creator that they otherwise couldn't access through themselves for whatever reason. So you become an earth angel in that moment. That's very powerful. So thank you
It,
for doing that. That's a great service.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. I honor that space and that place. At times though, it's, you're a student and you're a teacher at the same time. And so you're always looking at, okay, what else is it that I need to know or need to develop? And the interesting thing right now, I think where I am, is there's so much coming at you, and you're really trying to wade through everything that's coming at you and thinking, okay, well, I don't know, is this right for me, or is this right for me, is this right for me, or is that right for me? And I've just kind of come to a point where I just sit still. When there's too much coming at me, I
Yes.
just sit still.
Yeah, and preferably sit still with bare feet on the ground, or go hug a tree, or go for a walk, knowing that nature, that Mother Earth has the strongest matrix, right? And if you can align to that matrix, she'll help you settle out the confusion. The confusion comes because we're in our human mind consciousness trying to figure it out with our brain. And as we moved into 2012, that ability to figure things out by negative and positive is becoming more difficult because we're moving into holism. So when we move into holism, when we align with something that's more bigger whole than we are, like Mother Earth, then we can calm down. In that energy of alignment, we will get the message that we need. Or we can lean up against a tree and ask a tree, because it will help us ground as well. So I think confusion at this point in our lives, and with Catherine and her question, is saying I think confusion is saying, let's ground, let's connect to Mother Earth, let's be still, and a still voice inside of ourselves can be heard. Because synchronicity, the right path, the right step is always around us. If every breath that's there, it's just when we're hyper, we miss it. So like you say, when you do your yoga and you calm down, then the next step becomes abundant. And, if you are in a situation where you can't necessarily calm down and do the meditation, although I know we're moving towards that, being able to meditate in every moment, I'm not there yet. Some people think that they are, and maybe some of them are. The dowsing of a clear yes and no is very helpful. Is this the step I need to take right here, right now? Yes, no. Do I need to go into this building or not into this building? Yes, no. Is it safe for me to go here or there? When you're on the street or wherever, and there isn't a chance for you to be still inside, then dowsing is really helpful. And you can do it with a pendulum, or you can do it with your body. You can do a body sway, or you can do, muscle testing, with the finger, and this being strong as a yes and weak as a no. Whatever way you want, it's a way of being able to tune into your body. But just remember, when you set that up, that you only want to know the answer from your higher self connected to source. So there could be no interference. So if we come back to when you came on the program, it sounded like, if I understood what you're saying, is that you would like to know a bit more about how to work with energies with regard to not only maybe healing yourself, but healing other people. Did I get that right?
That's correct. And how would one, there is the yes and no questions, but are there other mechanisms that we I guess with the 21-day program that you're speaking of would show you? So it would be something equivalent to EFT, but you're using a um, rods or a pendulum.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just launching a course that it's an evergreen course, and I'm looking for people to join the course so we can do it as a group. It's an evergreen course, so you can join it at any time. It's using a pendulum, and it was created by an 80-year-old Dowser who was one of my teachers, and it's called Distant Healing Certification Course. And what he's created is, I think it's a 65-page, well, it's more than that, but 65-page set of dowsing charts where you ask these questions that allow you to zero in on what's going on with the person. Now, for you, it would take you one time through that course, or maybe two times through the course. I don't know, but I don't do that anymore. I literally, you phone me, I get the answer right away what's going on with you. Just like the person who walks up to you in the airport, you're not looking at a chart and trying to figure anything out. You just get a full-blown download. And that's what I get when I'm doing healing and dowsing for clients. But I have to say that the charts and going through how to use charts and how to dowse gave me the confidence that I would get the right answer. And if I get stuck, then I can say, well, is the answer in this book of charts, or do I need to do this or not? And so I could do sort of a chart of charts, if that makes sense. So
yes.
Then I can go to that book and say, is there anything in this book? Yes or no. Okay, is it page 1, or is it the front of the book, back of the book, middle of the book? And that's really helpful. And it's helpful also, I don't know about you, but I have stacks and stacks of books beside my bed. So is this the book I need to read? Yes, no. Is it this chapter relevant? Yes, no. I could just cut into the book, and I think I got you there. I think there's stacks of books beside your bed. That it helps you then
idea.
Zero. Yeah.
My husband calls me the book hoarder.
Yeah, I've been trying to get rid of my books too, but and of course the beauty of Sal for you is that you're coming rapidly to the point where you really don't need books. I mean, everything you need is in your guidance and will be there on command or by asking the question. But I understand that if you don't really know what the question is, how can you get the answer? So maybe the books are still relevant in being able to know the questions that one could ask, right?
Yes, that, and also that there's, I think as time is speeding up, and science is still, on top of mind for many people to allow them to be comfortable with what they're being told, and there's something backing whatever the situation, the answer is. And so what happens is that the more that you learn, and sometimes, I've read a whole book cover to cover and it wasn't for me, but I guarantee you 10 days later, there's someone that shows up and is asking me certain questions, and it's like, oh, I know, I've got the book. Here's this book I read for you. So there you go. And more than enough time.
So what you're saying to me is that using guidance to direct you to allow yourself to read what you're supposed to, but really strong, almost push in the back of your head that this is what you need to be reading or doing. So it's not something that's just an intellectual exercise. It's something that it becomes clear to you. Yes. So you may enjoy, you can tune in and ask Source whether joining the Distant Healing Certification Program might be the sort of thing that you'd enjoy and have fun, and using those charts and being able to pick my brain, once a week in a group might be fun. And I'll
Oh,
leave that for you to figure out. And
oh,
it also will give you access to the Take Back Your Power. And at $497, access to everything in my academy at this time, plus access to some of the Master Dowsers that are no longer here. We'll be using their techniques as well, going through them, and you can ask me questions about it. Well, how would you use this technique? Or Tyson, have you used this technique? Or what about this cool idea of using this technique? So I think it will be a lot of fun, and we're all going to learn from each other. So I'm looking forward to that. So that might be something you want to be involved in.
definitely.
So
I'll take a look. It's probably on your website, or maybe you can send a quick link or something through Messenger.
yeah, so let me just sing this for people who will be listening to this show. I'm just going to head over and see if I can type in coherently and talk at the same time. And as I'm a male, it's sometimes difficult to do two things at once. But then I've been thinking about this two things at once and multitasking, around converging timelines. And I think we have to be careful, because when you're multitasking, you're jumping from one timeline to the other. And so you can get a little bit mocked up about where you are and what you're trying to bring into reality. So there's something to be thinking about in multitasking. Why are you trying to do that? Where certainly in meditation, you're learning how to have one thought at one time, or actually no thought at all. So what do you
Yes.
think about that?
No, definitely. I mean, myself right now, I've been doing quite a bit of Dr. Joe's stuff, because from Kundalini Yoga, it was more to do with silent meditation, and jumping into silent meditation because it was the only thing that would alleviate any pain that was within my body. I call it that my higher self needed me to move out a little bit more. And then of course going into a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, which I have been doing, but now all these other doors have opened up since then. So there is definitely something shifting and changing. And I'd love to maybe give you a call back after the show is over, and maybe get you to douse for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I could send you to have a one-to-one free session with me, and see where that goes. So that's up on the screen. There is extraordinaryhealingarts.academy. That's where all the online courses are. Take a look at the Distant Healing Certification course and Take Back Your Power Now are the two ones that we've been talking about so far. You can also look around at some of the other ones as well, and decide whether they want to come and play or not.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. So do you have any other questions that you'd like to answer now, or?
No, I'm good. I think more to do with really, I once I read through what the offerings are here, and then I'll give you a call back, and hopefully we can connect to get some dowsing done by a Master Dowser.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. And the number that I'll just put up back up on the screen. So this is a number that for whatever reason you can't get hold of me for a free session or whatever, you can phone this number and get a hold of me. And it's toll free. Just want to jot that down. It's 1-866-369-7464. And if you can't remember that, it's just 1-866 no, yeah, 1-866 Dowsing. So it's pretty easy to remember.
Okay.
1-866 Dowsing. That's goes to my cell phone, and you can pretty well get hold of me. If I don't answer the phone, it means I'm probably on another call. You can leave me a message, and I'll get back to you. All
Perfect.
right.
Thank you
Well,
so
thank
much.
you for being on the show and actually demonstrating to other people that it's not that scary to click that Be Live link and join me and be a co-host on the show. It's a way in which you can have a private conversation with me. It's like a one-to-one. And so that's what you could do out there if you're listening to the show, or you can phone toll free with the number right up there on the screen. So, Sal, it's been a slice. Thanks for showing up, and we'll be in touch.
Thank
Bye
you
for
so
now.
much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
All right, bye for now. All right, so that was lots of fun. So the phone is open, or you can jump on with the Be Live link. I'll just show you the Be Live link here. There's the link. Click that and come on like so and have a conversation with me. That would be great. So, wow, it says, Kelly Jean says, I just picked up the old book, The Pendulum Power from 1997 with charts and all. Yeah, I don't even know that book, but anything that's on with charts on it will really help you. You just ask, is there anything in this book when you're working with a client or you're trying to figure out something yourself, and you get the answer yes or no, and away you go. And I'll just give you an example of that. I had a client, and she was hypersensitive to something, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I couldn't get a clear message from source. So I went to my favorite book, which is, see if I can pull it off my shelf quickly. It's my book. It's not my personal book, but it's my favorite book. It's called Pendulum Charts, and I'm just going to hold it up there and see. Let's see. We move this way so you can see it. Whoa, the other way. Unfortunately, the camera is the reverse of what you think it is. So there you are. Pendulum Charts, and it's by, the author is Dale Olson, and it has, about, I don't know how many charts in it. Let me just see here. It has over 50 charts in it. So this is the chart of the charts, and you just say, okay, is there anything in this book, yes or no? And then which one the charts would be useful. So anyway, I did that, and it said hypersensitive to gas and oil. I told her that, and she says, well, no, there's no gas and oil around where I live. I'm on a farm, and that wouldn't be it. And so I didn't think anything more. We cleared it using the clearing protocol, and to give her some relief. And of course, clearing things gives you relief, but if it's actually you're sensitive to oil and gas, then you got to get away from the oil and gas that's influencing you, or it will continue to impact your energy field. So I met her 2 or 3 months later. She moved out because I got a clear message she needed to move. And she said, I just discovered that our house was built on top of an old gas station, or I think it was a gas station or refinery. So the gas and oil was still in the ground and still was adversely affecting her. So without going to the pendulum charts, there's no way that I would have known that. So even if you're getting guidance and emails, or being able to use charts is very, very valuable. All right. So that's cool, Kelly, Jean, that you're actually using charts. And they're very valuable. All right, so I want to show you the toll-free number. I am standing by. We're just at the top of the hour, but I am willing to take one more call if you can catch me in before the end of the hour here. So I'm just going to head over to the Peace Process Wednesday, and there was 6 comments, and the comments are coming from the Dowsing and Energy Healing closed Facebook group, and I just want to thank all 2,779 of you for showing up and learning how to dowse. Of course, my goal is to teach you not only how to clear yourself, but how to clear your family, your loved ones, your clients, and of course, the planet, because I want to create heaven on earth. And of course, that starts by clearing yourself. So thank you for showing up and making this a better world to live in, starting with yourself. All right, so it says Peace Process Wednesday. We're clearing places of violence worldwide, such as war zones. Where do you want some help to release trapped human emotion in the earth, or geopathic stress, or backlash, or black trapped water that needs to be released so it does not lead to possible illness and disease and disorder. The important thing to remember about this is that disease and disorder, geopathic stress is really human emotion that's trapped into energy lines that adversely affects anybody on that geopathic fault line, cannot end up having the same disease or disorder and have the results of that. So there's been research that's been done in Europe, and I'm just seeing if I can put my hands on the book at the moment. I can't quickly for you. Oh, here it is. I knew it was here. So this is the book. It's in wellnessstore.ca. Just bring it down here. It's called Earth Radiation. Okay. And how geopathic disturbances can affect you. This is research on 11,000 people in more than 3,000 places in 14 countries. And it shows that from the research that anybody on the same fault line or the geopathic stress will end up with the same symptoms. And these symptoms can include cancer, allergies, arthritis, insomnia, learning disabilities, and many other disorders and diseases. So it's really important. And one of the places where you can be most adversely affected is if your place where you, if you work at home or in an office, and there's a geopathic stress line that runs underneath your chair in your office or crosses your heart in the bed, then it can definitely adversely affect you. So it's really important work to learn how to deal with geopathic stress, how to identify it, and how to clear it up. Now, it's nothing really complicated, but if you don't know that it's potentially a problem, you wouldn't ask the question on how to go about and clean it up. So that's Earth Radiation, and it comes in two forms. The book with all the background research is available at www.thewellnessstore.ca. And then there's a $5 short version of it that I highly recommend that you can download as well and get a copy of as well from the store. So those are two ways in which you can begin to look at Earth radiation and how it may be adversely affecting you. So we're near the top of the hour and nobody's phoned in. I just want to thank you, Kelly Jean McGrain, for showing up on the show today. Hopefully you've will share it with your friends and your neighbors and your clients. Let them know about the show. And Kelly Jean McGrain, thank you for showing up. Much appreciated. And asking all those great questions, which I probably haven't had time to get to. But yeah, you said you shared. Yeah, thank you very much. So thank you, everybody, for showing up on the show. Until next week, same time, same place. Be healthy, wealthy, and wise. This is Tyson Banning signing off now. The Healing Hour. Join us every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to phone in toll-free in North America, 1-866-369-7464 or 1-866-Dowsing. Phone in to get your questions about dowsing and energy healing answered, and also to receive an energy healing. The Healing Hour is produced on Facebook Live through the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy Facebook page. It's also produced by The Wellness Show, www.thewellnessshow.ca. And so until next week, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise.